Good ideas have many parents and hopeless ones have one person to blame. And when Adult Learners Week started, I had a committee who said, this is a dreadful idea, we don't want you to do it. But I was asked where it came from, and in part it was because the government of the day decided to make some new policies, and senior civil servant explained to me that there's no such thing as adult learning. There's further education, there's higher education, nothing else. And so they weren't going to fund it anymore. So with the women's institutes and local authorities, there are 9,000 branches of the WI. They wrote letters en masse, and 6 weeks later the government decided to clarify its policy. We thought, we've got something here. Legislation's still going through. We thought it would be a great thing if we could celebrate adult learners, because we noticed in Parliament that when people debated it, they said, people don't want to pay for flower arranging on the taxes. So we found a Brixton florist, formerly a merchant banker, who'd gone to evening classes as his industrial retraining and employed half his classes as a glorious shop. Independent wrote him up. Within 3 weeks in Parliament, they were saying, of course, we know flower arranging can lead to floristry. So at the heart of it, as Stephen said, simple idea, was you celebrate existing learners and all of their diversity in order to encourage other people to join in, and in order to help decision makers understand better how adult learning can contribute to a whole range of social policies. Simple idea, and it works, and it's now spread to something like 50 countries. When we started, we were lucky. The BBC decided to put the first publicly funded adverts into prime time of stories on how people might engage with learning. The ITV companies told the stories of our individual winners, and Channel 4 commissioned a drama about it. So they gave us a kind of public visibility. With the Department for Employment, we created a national learning helpline. There was a Cones helpline at the time, and we began ringing it up and saying, can you give us advice about adult learning, as a joke. But anyway, we got a week for this helpline. 55,000 people phoned, and more than half of them were long-term unemployed, and 40% of those joined a course within 3 weeks. Now the reason for that in part was that in order to persuade Europe that we were reaching our target audience, we needed a mechanism of demonstrating it. They didn't believe you couldn't use television because that reached people who weren't the intended beneficiaries, and that's pollution in European audit terms. So we got, in those days, you got your benefits check, in a gyro check, in a weekly check. We put a piece of paper saying phone the helpline into every one of those checks. Well, A, we've got a national helpline, Learn Direct, that's derived out of that and is now understandably part of what we do nationally. But secondly, it made a real and profound difference. Because the biggest challenge is it's not only decision makers who find it hard to join in, but people who found education less than glorious the first time around. They need the stories of people like themselves who have transformed their lives in order, like my mum said the first time she went to an awards ceremony, here, she's just like me. Yes, mother, I said, you could do it too. She wasn't entirely convinced. But I was asked upstairs what the most glorious moments of 25 years have been. And for me, I think the year we found the oldest learner in the country, Fred Moore, 108, studying French and painting in his home in New Milton in Hampshire, was a pretty special one. Castleford Women's Centre, who made, after the miners' strikes, thought, right, it's time for us, it's women now, and created the most wonderful, vivid, imaginative learning centre, and the kinds of stories which we've seen in the pictures earlier on, and who you're going to hear today. All the way through the years, they've been an inspiration. We had to change providers a bit to make them willing to put people up for such awards, but once it had been done once, it was more of a problem about how on earth do you celebrate all this richness.